The Westerly Historical Society is producing a series of video oral histories to help us understand and preserve an important time in our history. These are the life stories of the people of Westerly, told in their own words.
This is a interview in our series called Reflections, and my name is Zachary Garceau. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, 2024, and I am here with Ed Liguori. Thanks for being here with us, Ed. And, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your life in Westerly and basically everything you can possibly tell us. So, I guess we'll start from the very beginning. So, were you born in Westerly?
Yeah, born, raised, and lived in the same area for 92 years.
Okay. So were you born at home or were you born at the hospital?
I was born at home.
You were? Okay. Yeah. So, and then tell us a little bit about your family. So were you the oldest or?
I'm the baby of the family.
You are? Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah.
We have 4 brothers, plus, myself, 3 and 1, and 2 sisters.
Okay.
And my sister, Minnie Ravenel, is the only one living besides me. She's 96 years old. Still making spaghetti and meatballs.
Your parents, so first of all, do you know when they came over here and also where
it was around 1912.
Why did they come to the U.S.? Was it for work or?
Good question. I guess a lot of other ones got here before them, and they heard it was good living and stuff, but they decided they didn't come on their own. They came on their own, and then they got married here. But there was another thing about trying to get through Ellis Island. You had to go through a rough health check and stuff. Anything that was wrong with you, they ship you back to Italy. Now, they come over and without any health checks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was relatives would send more relatives, and little by little, Pawcatuck had Sicilians, and Westerly had the Calabrese, and that's how the area started.
Just tell us a little bit more about your life growing up and going to school in Westerly. So, anything particular stands out?
I was born on 196 High Street, and went to school at High Street School. My neighbor, Jim Galuscio, who was chief of police, we were good friends. And there's one story I like to tell is a Maryland trip. I don't know if you heard, there was an article in the paper about her, but she was Miss America qualified. So she was director at the playground in Westerly in the summer, and all the kids from the area used to go to the playground, especially because she was there. And me and Jim suggested that she run for Miss Westerly. The carnival used to come to town where Westerly Health Center is, and they had the 2 girls there. One of them was Joe Corey's girlfriend. I don't know if you know Joe Corey. He did some announcing for Westerly High and stuff, basketball games. Well, it came out that Maryland Tripp won, and Joe Corey complained because his girl lived in Westerly, and Maryland Tripp lived in North Staunton. And he complained and complained, but he didn't win. Maryland Tripp went on to Miss Rhode Island, and she went to Miss America and won a couple awards. And that's our story about Maryland Tripp.
So you said that you grew up in a pretty big family. So your siblings, so what did they live in Westerly their whole life? Did they?
Yes, they all lived in Westerly. My 2 brothers were in the service. My older brother wasn't in the service. They all belonged to the VFW. And my sisters worked in Moores. That was the big place where everybody worked. One of my sisters married a veteran from Pennsylvania, and my brother married his sister. So it was brother and sister, brother and sister. And my brother Joe married Lillian Costanza from Bradford, and I married the love of my life, who read all my letters.
What was your wife's maiden name?
Virginia Haggerty. Her father worked for the Winter Park Golf Course as part of the grounds crew. Joe Haggerty was a good golfer. He won the championship down Winter Park 2 or 3 years in a row. And Howard Haggerty was from Duns Corners, and he married Tom Keener's sister, I believe. My mother-in-law was a Savvy, and she came from Stamford, Connecticut, went to school here, graduated in 1932 with a bunch of good classmates. I think Leo Dotlow, I can't think of the others, but I got her graduation diploma and everything, all that stuff, which I don't know what I'm going to do with. My kids, they'll probably throw it in the dumpster. We, at the age around 12 to 15, we did what we liked best. That was playing outside basketball. We used to go to the playground every day, and we also went to see the Twilight League games. I don't know if you remember Craig Field and the Twilight League games.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Those were good times.
And actually, there's one story that always just sticks out in my mind, but speaking of the Twilight League, although I don't know if it was that one, but so Yogi Berra, we think, played there, right?
Yeah.
Was it a Twilight League game?
It was the sub base against Charleston Air Base. And Yogi was just as funny then as he is, has been.
Oh, yeah.
And all the kids congregated around him. And there was one story which I can't tell because it got
I know which one
girls
that is.
involved.
Yeah.
So, but he was a joker and a good player, too.
Oh, yeah.
But Charleston Air Base had one of the best teams. We had a couple semi-pro ball players, Jim Petty and George Lurchin, who were on the team. And they used to hit home runs over Mountain Avenue and almost hit the house on the Nardone's house up there.
Oh, wow.
But Twilight League was a good league, and guys like Ed Green, who ran the filling station down Duns Corners, and all the Mills, Cottrells, Hamilton, they all had teams, and they were all good players too.
So speaking of that time, like you were saying, around when you were 12, 15-ish, so that was obviously right around World War II. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a lot going on then. But, and actually I remember one of the last times we had talked too, you'd talked a little bit about Pearl Harbor and everything, and on that day in particular. So do you remember anything about that day? And
we were at the Central Theater on West Broad Street, which was an old theater and it's torn down now, but it was 2 movies, me, my brother Joe, and I think Jim Glugio was there too. And around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, an announcement come over the phone, over the loudspeaker, saying, all military personnel report to your base immediately. And there's usually a lot of sailors in Westerly Pawcatuck wearing their uniform, and they all got up, must have been about 20 or 30 in in the theater, they all got up and took off, and we didn't know what was going on. And on the way home, we walked by the Armory. We happened to see a little activity there from the National Guard. We got home, turned on the radio, and that's when we knew Pearl Harbor was attacked. That was something, and then you were listening to the radio for the next 3 or 4 days. So,
how did the war impact your, day-to-day life and everything? And because you were in school at the time, but so was there anything that kind of stands out in your memory? Things that you didn't have to do any other time, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of things. There was air raid sirens once in a while, and you had to shut your lights off in the house, and you used to put tape on half of your headlight at night, and crazy other things that helped, keep the area safe.
Used to have, I know you've told me before about airplane spotters too. So where was it that they used to be?
That was a good one. Airplane spotters, they were civilian men, and they had a little platform up, which is around the Hillview, up across the street from where the Westerly Health Center is. And there was about 4 or 5 guys who all they did was spot planes. There wasn't that many flying then, but if they saw a plane, they would mark it down, report it to their headquarters, describing what the plane was. They also taught us how to do it, but they were mostly American planes, so that was a big thing. There was one gentleman, Frank Furman, who married Marguerite Ferraro, and she lived an eighth of a mile away from where they spotted the plane. And that was a big thing. My mother used to make spaghetti meatballs, and I used to bring it up there to them. So, nice bunch of boys.
So, and kind of just to switch gears, because I know, and clearly we've already talked about the Twilight League and stuff. I know you love sports like I do. So when you were growing up, did you play any sports in Westerly? No? So you're kind of like me. You like learning about it, but you're not so good. Yeah.
I was a spectator.
Yeah, me too.
The Twilight League plus Westerly High School had some good teams then. Used to go to all the games, and Dave Stenhouse played on our team in 1950, and we won the quarterfinals or something, but in 1951, they won the state championship. He graduated in 1951.
Yeah.
And basketball teams, very good. Wesley Staunton, always rivals. And there was so much in sports. I think football was also the big. Had Ronnie Gardner and all those guys.
During and I guess also after high school, of course, too, what was it that you did for jobs around Westerly?
Well, after graduating from Westerly High in 1950, I worked for Connecticut Cabinet in Mystic. They built wooden television cabinets, council ones. And then we got drafted into service in 1952. Me, Anthony Giordano, and a bunch of other guys from this area, and got discharged in October 54. Went back to Connecticut Cabinet, but we didn't like it, so I talked Tony Giordano into going to Bryant College under the GI Bill, and we did, but I would never suggest that again because it was a 2-year course, 4-year degree. We went from September to July, and homework every night, and it wasn't very easy, but we got our degree, and Tony Giordano worked for Firestone in Africa. And I got a job with Retail Credit Company, as an insurance inspector, investigator. That was a job that every time you got a raise, you had to do more reports every day. So it got to a point where a lot of guys who had more years than I did weren't doing the job right, you know. They were at the home faking it and stuff. And it was almost like trying to do FBI work on a small salary.
Oh, yeah.
So I finally left, and I couldn't take it anymore. And I went to EB for 3 years and got laid off when Mr. Valiotis took over. And after that, while at Electric Boat, I went to Scotland as salary personnel when the union had a strike, and worked in the tanks. I don't know what you call them, but the tank was about the size of my shoulders, and you had to put your arms up to get in there. And I learned fast with painting. So we painted all the slush tanks and stuff. And then I got laid off with Valiotis, and I finally worked for Woolworths in Wakefield. I don't know if they're still in business, but worked there for 5 years in the appliance department as manager. And I decided to start my own business with my wife, High Street News and Variety, downtown Westerly, and we worked there for 14 years and finally sold it. And it was a good 7-day job, early in the morning, and you know, my wife would work. I'd go open up and she would take over late. But there was one time when we had the lottery in Rhode Island, the Powerball, and Pawcatuck Connecticut didn't have it. So all the people from Hartford and stuff would come to Westerly to buy tickets. And that was something. The line was all the way out in the street. And then when Connecticut got the Powerball, things changed. We worked High Street News and Variety. We did lottery tickets, Western Union. We collected gas bills and electric bills for the different companies. And that was the source of good income.
You were involved with was it the Italo-American Club? Was it?
Italo-American Club.
Italo, yeah. So,
Yeah.
And what position were you? Were the?
I was secretary and treasurer.
Yeah.
That's when he was down Columbus Circle, and it was the old timers were there then, and every night, 4 o'clock, they'd all go down there and have drinks and stuff. Someone like Tommy Santora, Slim Vacatura, and a lot of others that made it a daily schedule to go down there, play and drink and play bocce and stuff. That was a good club. It had all kind of functions, but it got to a point where they put on an addition, and it didn't work out because it was cost too much money, and they couldn't pay the addition bill. So they finally sold it to, I forgot, the state agency at one time. Kids and stuff, they would give cheese and stuff to the low-income people. And that was, I got out of there because I used to go down, sit at the bar, and the next thing you know, you had 4 drinks in front of you. Everybody buy a drink. So, and I wasn't a big drinker then, so I forgot about that deal. But that was a good club. And we In fact, I give you a picture of the float that we won for the 1969 centennial. Me and Tony Giordano wrote an appeal letter to all the members, which were mostly older guys, and we asked for donations. We collected $3,000, and we purchased the kit for a nice float, which was won first place in the category which the club was in. We won first place, but we didn't get a trophy because the committee ran out of money. So we did all the work. It was a good parade too. I don't know if one of the best in town. It was what you call a parade, you know what I mean? It had the bands and all the floats and stuff like that, and it was real proud of Westerly. So everybody dressed up in gowns, and we had the long side burdens and stuff. And
You know, actually, as you were saying this too, and thinking about the parade, because I know it kind of went by around this area actually, and so right now we're actually on Granite Street. So, you know, it seems like from everything I've read too, it changed a lot from, you know, what it is now since when you were younger.
I don't remember where it started. It could have been up Granite Street by the school. Went through town, and I don't know if it went to Crakefield or what, but it was one of the best parades in Westerly.
So kind of like all the businesses that were up and down this street, actually. So, you know, probably
you can
prior to that, it wasn't
remember
really much.
all the houses
Yeah.
on this side. They were up on the hill.
Oh.
And
okay.
Matt Serra bought one of them, and he moved it across the way back in Longview. And then he bought another one, started a business there. And next thing you know, there was no houses but businesses. And same thing across the street, where his father started a supermarket. His father was worked down at the A&P, where the monument now is. As soon as you go over the bridge, Dick Camoli made that monument. He worked there, A&P, and he started his own business, very successful. And after they closed up, I think Green Stamps took it over. And that was something, you know, everybody purchased stuff and got Green Stamps. And I think they're still in business, but they had their store in New London at first. Then they moved over here with display of different things you could get with your points and stuff. But that was Granite Street, changed hands, and even the shopping center over here.
I've seen aerial photos that, you know, back from like the 50s and 60s even, you can see it's like there was very little, and then every 10 years you look and it's just...
My father worked for Smith's Quarry, and he used to come where Kelly's Deli is, that shopping center there, that was all granite machines and stuff where they used to make different, you know, pieces of granite for their monuments and stuff. And they got pictures of dust flying around, no masks and stuff, and that was talented men there.
And actually, speaking of granite quarries and also your parents too, so who was it that came over here from Italy? Was it your grandparents or your parents?
No, my mother and father.
Your mother and father, did they both
met
were
over here and got married.
Okay.
196 High Street. And I remember when I was young, every Sunday they'd go either visit relatives or friends, or they would come to our house for the afternoon, which no one does now. And they also would do a project, like if my father wanted a little shed 5 or 6 guys would come, work all day, build a shed, and then have a nice feast after that. And that was tradition back then, which now everybody wants to get paid.
Tell us a little bit about your wife and how you guys met too. Yeah.
I was going with a girl, 1952, and I got drafted, and I was overseas writing letters and stuff to her, and I came home 2 years later and met my girl, and I knew something was wrong, and she had a boyfriend, so that was the end of that. So in those days, we used to go down the Velodrome and hang out and look for girls, you know, stuff, and I was on the sidelines there, and all of a sudden this girl comes roller skating right in front of me, and she started talking, and I didn't know her, but she knew me, and I said, "You want to ride home?" She said, "Yeah." "Would you take my 2 girlfriends too?" "Yes." So we took the 2 girlfriends home, and then up on Boombridge Road, there was a little dirt road which we stopped in, and we had a little session. And I asked her, I said, "How do you know me?" She says, "Rosemary was my best friend." That was the girl I broke up with. She said, "Rosemary was my best friend, and I used to read all your letters." So that was the start of it, and we went together for 5 years, got married in 1957, had 3 children, and she passed away in 2017, and I'm still here at 92, but it was a good marriage. And
So, yeah, and where were you guys married? Was it
Immaculate.
You were, okay.
Father Liguori, I think, married us. I can't think of his name, but he took over for Mudgett in baseball. And he was supposed to sing at our wedding, but I think he passed away 2 days before that. And Tony Travato, another good friend, sang at our wedding. And we went to Washington, D.C. for a honeymoon, and things were a lot different then than they are now. We were able to go in the White House with a tour, and they showed you a lot of the rooms. Now they just show you a couple of rooms, and security is tough now. But
You know, and actually I'm just kind of thinking about, we're coming up pretty soon on the 4th of July, but do you remember, were there any holidays that you liked celebrating particularly when you were throughout your
Halloween wasn't my favorite,
No?
but 4th of July was. They had good fireworks and stuff, and we used to buy fireworks, the sparklers and the little ones you could throw, and so we spent a lot of money on fireworks. I used to love the 2 parades, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, because they were good, long parades with bands. The last few years, the parade has been very limited.
Yeah, because you've been pretty involved in, veterans affairs, I guess you'd say, in Westerly. So, because was it that you were working with, I guess, an organization where you were putting the flags out for the...
That was Ken Burton.
Yeah.
And he started it. I think he had about 75 flags that he put out. One day I talked to him and said, "You want some help?" So we got together for coffee, and Tony Giordano was also with me. We decided to write a letter to a lot of businesses asking for donations, and we got quite a few hundreds of dollars, and we bought more flags, which we put out. And in about 3 months, we had about 150 flags instead of 75. And then I had the idea of a dedicated flag, which I like to do, because when one of my friends or a veteran dies or a neighbor, I buy a dedicated flag for him instead of flowers. So Ken liked that idea, and we started that with a letter to the editor, and little by little, people were buying the dedicated flag, $50, and we would put them up for different holidays. And right now, I think there's close to 300 flags on the streets. Yeah. And they're not just putting them on for the holiday. He's going to leave them up for until 4th of July.
Okay, yeah, because I saw them out there now, and yeah. So
we also started, my family and a few others were the first ones to put the dedicated flags out on the street. And we'd get up 6 o'clock in the morning, and my family was me, my son, my son-in-law, my nephew, and 2 other little children would put the flags out, about 48 around the monument. And right now, I think the town looks pretty nice.
Oh, definitely. And,
it does do something to the...
It definitely adds something, that's for sure, yeah. And were you also involved in any of the war memorial monuments too? Because the one...
the war memorial?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the one in Columbus Circle, right? Was it?
I wasn't involved in that one. I was involved in the Westerly Veterans Memorial at the corner of Grove Avenue and Granite Street.
Yeah.
And that was a 1937 World War I memorial, which was owned by the library and on library property. And in 2002, a bunch of committee people worked for several months getting the names of veterans from Westerly who had an honorable discharge and met the criteria. And it ended up with 6 large bronze plaques, which on November the 2nd, 2002, we had a big dedication and a celebration for those monuments. There was, I think there was 2 or 3 World War II plaques, 1 Korean plaque, and 1 Vietnam plaque. After that 2002 dedication, things were slow, and for one thing, I used to go by that night, and it was very dark with the flags flying. So I suggested we do a campaign to get money to put the lights up. So we put the lights up, and it made a big difference at night. And so that was our first project. I had a committee of about 8 veterans, mostly World War II guys, who were dedicated and helped with all the projects. They're all deceased now. Our next project was doing the bluestone pavers, which were around the World War I memorial. Many of those pavers were missing. Many were cracked. Many were not put right, and they were dangerous walking. So we got money, again, donations from the letter to the editor asking for donations. And we removed all those bluestone pavers, and we put new ones down. We also changed the pitch so the water ran away from that monument to the street and stuff, instead of going in to the memorial there. That was our second project. Our third project was doing the 17 flagpoles and flags, which really made a difference to the memorial. And those were all sold to different people for $500 a piece, and they had their names on each flagpole. We also did a 100-year anniversary of World War I celebration, and dedicated that to all the names on that round memorial in the middle. And our last project was the bollards, which, again, 6 sponsors purchased the seals of the services, 6 different services. And that celebration was well attended, and that ended our project because the library said that was enough to take care of it went from an old one thing to a beautiful memorial, which was said to be one of the best in the 3-state area for a small memorial.
You know, and also thinking about having all the names listed too and everything. So I remember you had told me before there used to be an honor roll. It used to actually be out in front of the A&P.
Oh,
was
yes.
it? Was that also for military, or was
Yes,
that?
that
When was that?
As soon as you go over the bridge and where I told you the A&P was, well, in front there's a monument now, and it used to be a big white wooden one. And if you go to the library, you'll see pictures of it and all the names. It was anybody who served from Westerly got his name on there.
Okay.
And Joe Perella, Sr., was one of the first men to suggest that. Kept it up for several years, but it was kind of getting rotted because it was wood and they didn't take care of it. So they finally knocked it down and they put that statue there, Dick Camoli. But that was a beautiful World War I, World War II and stuff monument.
You know, when you were younger, especially, I guess, but really, I guess, any time in your life. So, were you big on going to the beach? Was there a beach that you liked going to?
We all went to the casino. That was a hot spot.
Yeah.
And, you know, had to get a ride down, get a ride home and stuff. And there was the merry-go-round there and the big casino inside there and stuff. There was the, I forgot what they called it then, but it was a roller skating rink. And I think it was Atlantic Beach skating rink and stuff. And now it's a bar and stuff. But that's right. Yeah. That was a popular spot.
Speaking of the beach, too, I mean, I know obviously, for good reason, the hurricane of 1938 gets a lot of play, but I know that was when you were a little bit younger. So, I mean, do you remember, I guess, really the 1954 hurricane, though, too?
I was in the first grade, and I lived at 196 High Street, and we came home from school. I got, pretty close to my house, and the winds come up real strong. And then it started to rain, so we ran home, and that was the hurricane that ruined the beach, but it didn't do much to our area, except a few shingles were missing from the heavy winds. There was no warning of that 1938 hurricane. It came, destroyed the beaches. All the houses on the beach side of Atlantic Avenue were washed up onto the Shore Road, and now they're all built again, but they're more secure. And that was something. A lot of kids, not kids, but people from town would get some of the lumber from some of those houses, and they built houses of their own in Westerly. But that was the start of hurricanes. In 1954, I vaguely remember it because I was still in the service, I think. I would probably say JFK assassination. For the next 3 or 4 days, all we did was stand by the radio and the TV. The other one would be Princess Diana's. That was a big one too. The landing on the moon was rather big. Well, growing up, I know I had to water the tomatoes at night after the sun went down before I could go to Craig Field and watch the Twilight League game. And by then, the game would probably be half over. But I can remember high school games there. Frank Regine, who had his little basket and sold all kind of. He was located at the corner of Oak Street and High Street, where UBS started the business there, which is now United Builders. Speaking of United Builders, I think Harold Schlossberg did a beautiful job expanding that business. He went from a small retail lumber to, he took over Consumers Dairy, and he took over Atlantic Lumber and made it one of the best and biggest lumber yards in the area. And he supported the Italians too. That's how they got their start building houses. So Harold was a nice guy. Speaking of, I was in the fire department for 50 years, and thinking of some of the big fires that we had. One of them was the Alba Inn. That was in, probably the 80s. Another one was United Builders fire that we saved that lumberyard, and Harold Schlossberg never forgot it, and he used to give us money for a picnic every year. And the one on Main Street, there was another lumberyard across from McQuaid's. That went up in flames. So there were some big ones. And the parking lot on High Street, was Westerly Jewelry was there, and Jack and Harry's, I think, was there. And that one was torn down from the fire. Larry Hurst, he moved it down to where it is now. At what time, that was Vaz Brothers jewelry store, combination store, and a nice fountain, which you could get a nice little meal for 30 cents, 40 cents. Yeah, and the other areas that was the bowling alley on Coswell Street, the pool room, which was very active. And you had Statia's in Pawcatuck. You had Higgins next to Central Theater, and you had Shays. And they're all gone. There was a lot of businesses that were here in 1950, but there's only a few that are still operating. One of them was Ginger's up on Oak Street. They came from a little gas station to a big oil, propane and stuff. Reel's Brothers was pretty close to back in the 50s. Mr. Reel, one time, his daughter got married, so he had to wear a tux. So on the Saturday, he wore the tux. And on the Sunday, he wore it to work because he wanted to get his money's worth. So, and there was a humming minor bird there. And every time the telephone rang, the bird would say, "Hello, Reels! Hello, Reels!" and that was something. Everybody would go there just to listen to that bird.